heavenly gifts, Jesus elucidates how Satan's infernal seducing art lures men into perdition. February 2nd, 1841. Jesus reveals through Jacob Lorber in Volume 1. The Lord speaks. Let the following be the final addendum about being possessed. And if you will find little comforting here in general, but rather shuddering upon shuddering, and terrible upon terrible. Yes, if you will hear the thundering of the great judgment no longer far away, then think that I am the eternal love, to whom all things are possible. For my ways are infinite, and my secret counsels unfathomable. But if you want to ask questions here because of the world, they shall be written, and that is allowed to you. But if you ask, ask modestly and with an understanding heart. Question. O Lord, in what order then does being possessed occur? And do the possessed of the Old and New Testament, as well as those of more recent times, also belong to the order of the possessed ones referred to by you? Answer. Behold, the first of Satan's hunting party are the tempters with their every malicious intention. And of the tempters, those first whose seductive enterprise seems most alluring, most delightful, but at the same time so altogether proper and morally decent, that consequently by such fine deceit of Satan, mankind is compelled to let itself be drawn into eternal perdition by such entrepreneurs. To this first class belong all the fashion designers and workers in the broad sense, then all the dance and ball givers, then all the dance musicians, then all the dance teachers, dance masters, and leading dancers, as well as the so-called free dancers or ballet dancers, as well as all those who adore, approve of, and look with pleasure upon this seducing art of Satan. And finally, also all those young boys and girls whose hearts are attached to it. But if you ask yourself, wondering why dancing can be such a dangerous main tool of Satan, and if so, should man never enjoy cheerful hours in the world? To this, I give you the following answer. Have you never heard how the cunning fox lures the chickens from the trees, and how the snake lures the tender birds into its jaw? Behold, the fox whirls under the tree, and the chickens watch the merry patron unconcernedly, become dizzy at last, and then fall from the tree into his claws. And so also the snake wriggles in the grass, where the little birds may well see it. And when they see it amused, they immediately leave their branches and fly straight into its jaw. Behold, even so, this infernal seducing art of Satan lures men from the holy tree of life. I don't need to tell you more. But as for the cheerful and joyful hours, I tell you nothing but this. If joyful and cheerful hours are sought outside of me, behold, I, as the all-knowing, must openly confess to you that I truly do not know whether such will be found anywhere apart from me. In my holy, infinite allness, there are none such. And thus, such joyful and serene hours are probably only artificial grips of Satan, which resemble the charming pleasures in vain dreams, by which the whole of nature is corruptly deceived. For whom I, as the greatest recreation, am not enough? Well, such a one is truly a son of my greatest enemy. And further along the line, we have the owners of whorehouses and gambling houses, as well as all matchmakers and gamblers, and so also all main participants and supporters and protectors of such infernal laudabilities of Satan. Then all schemers, intriguers, warmongers, agitators of people, and traitors. Woe to them, for their reward will be very great. And finally, there too belong all cheapskates, usurers, enviers, hypocrites, flatterers, cheaters, liars, slanderers, blasphemers of my grace, thieves, robbers, murderers in spiritual and physical respect, and so do also all suicides. Behold, all these belong to Satan's hunting retinue, and, except for some of the last mentioned, are hardly possessed, but belong to the possessing ones, driving and drawing, and are all number one. All the deer, and especially all the trees and the grass of the evil forest, as well as the supporting ground, belong altogether to the possessed ones, and are under the number 2. Such will hardly recover, and the trees, the grass, and the soil, as the body property of Satan, not at all. For such have already established themselves in all this, and stand firm in all falls from Satan's evil. Woe to them! They will not escape the soon-to-follow global conflagration. But to the deer shall still be granted a short time of grace. But listen, during the chase, and in the time of flight following this, no one will be heard anymore and get admission into my holy territory. However, as far as the possessed ones of the Old Testament and New Testament are concerned, they can be understood as those trees of my territory, to which said fugitives cling in order to destroy them, if it were possible. But these trees have nothing to worry about, because they will suffer no damage to their soul, for I myself will protect the marrow of their life. For behold, where any such phenomenon is manifested, it usually occurs only in otherwise quite pious people, and it will seldom happen that such a phenomenon will appear in a very bad or even ordinary man of the world, unless such men, stimulated by a miracle, would suddenly turn around, at which time their possessors might already announce themselves from within and without, as a terrifying example to all their neighbors. Such examples can be found among many a lunatic. However, not all insane people are to be considered as such. For some become this way by filling their intellect excessively, so that the string of will, due to the unbearable tension, is torn, and the guidance has stopped. Or if some human being, without taking into account the intellect, has stretched out the heart too far after some vain thing, the guiding thread of the will is also torn, and the machine of life runs in all conceivable directions. That is when such a human being sees only that which his heart and head are filled with, floating in scattered circles before his unrestrained senses. Such people, however, are not lost. They are like the tangled branches of a tree, which the good forester will straighten out again in his own time. Question: O Lord, what will become of the fashion designers and similar manufacturers and tempters of all kinds, if their nourishing trade demands such from them? If any of them want to turn to you, what will they have to do in order to live? Answer: Listen, this is too human a question, like Peter's warning, and is stupid beyond measure. Am I then a poor fellow or a beggar? Or should he not have enough food for 1 or 1,000 men, who unceasingly feeds so many worlds and suns, whose number and size increase unto infinity? Behold, to such a question, which is actually not worthy of any answer, this answer is more than enough. And therefore, do not ask any further, if you only care about stupid things. But write in conclusion, he who will follow my voice shall live, but the deaf shall fall into eternal death. My word is my love, grace and mercy, and the seed of life shall be scattered in many places. Where it will be conceived, there it will bring about life, and make the possessed free unto life. But where it is trampled, there death will hold its great harvest festival. Behold, now I make all things new, that the old may depart with mockery and great shame. But if you exchange an old garment for a new one, I will do so, and have already done so. Therefore, look for a new wedding garment, and fill your lamps with oil. For I, the great bridegroom, am on my way. And when you will least expect it, I will be there. Blessed is the one whom I shall find prepared. This say I, the great bridegroom. Amen.